Good evening, this is QTV Nightly News and I am Jacqueline Coley. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. 10 Old Gambia Transport Service Company buses were entirely burnt after a fire outbreak on Saturday at the GTSC headquarters in Carnifing. A devastating fire swept through the Brikama Sunday car market on Friday morning, causing significant losses for businesses operating there. In a historic event, the Gambia will celebrate its 60th independence anniversary on the 18th of February 2025 under the theme Diamond Jubilee, Marching in Solidarity for Self-Reliance. On Friday, Women in STEM Gambia We STEM, in partnership with the West African International School WISE, launched a Girls in STEM chapter for the school to shape a brighter future for girls through STEM. Those were the headlines and now the news in detail. Thank you for joining us. Now, 10 Old Gambia Transport Service Company buses were entirely burnt after a fire outbreak on Saturday at the GTSC headquarters in Carnifing. The buses were part of a consignment of 19 sold to a scrap dealer. Pa Daniel Gomez visited the scene and he tells us more.
The fire outbreak, which caused commotion in the Gambia Transport Service Company GTSC headquarters around 1 p.m., was quickly extinguished by the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service after arriving at the scene, led by their commissioner with 4 fire engines. The fire happened in a part of the bus garage for out-of-service buses. Sidi Kanji, general manager of GTSC, explained what is known so far about the cause of the fire.
We designate as our scrap yard, our bus mortuary, where we park the buses that we don't need. They are already scrapped, useful parts removed from them. And as I said, already sold to a scrap dealer. And the dealer paid part of the money based on what we agreed to GTSC. And they came today to cut these scrap buses into movable pieces to carry them away. And in the process, using cutting machines and grinders, sparks were generated. And sparks caused fire. Engulfing at least 10 of the buses that we sold to them.
General Manager Kanji explained what the scrap dealer, who has worked with GTSC for over 2 years, had to say.
We took it up with the dealer, Mr. Bojang, that we expected him to take adequate precaution when carrying out their cutting exercise, which he acknowledged that they have failed to. And he has taken responsibility and acknowledged that it's his funds that will go waste, already parting with part of it to GTSC.
He further expresses his appreciation to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service for the swift and effective response in containing the fire.
As I said, the fire service responded on time and very professionally, deploying 4 of their engines from Banjul, from Turkeystown base. And as we speak, I think 2 of their engines are still here, trying to ensure that the smoke from the ashes is all contained completely, no smoke anymore. And I thank Mr. Jangha, their commissioner, Mr. Ahmad Jangha, for his sacrifice response.
He also thanks the paramilitaries, the police, his employees, and the public for their concern and the help offered. Despite the seriousness of the fire, no GTSC services were affected by the incident. Reporting for QTV News, I am Pa Daniel Gomez.
A devastating fire swept through the Brikama Sandika market on Friday morning, causing significant losses for businesses operating there. The victims are now calling for government and public support to help recover from the damage. QTV's Ansumana Esonyasi visited the market on Saturday and filed in this report.
All that is now left at this once a thriving market where thousands of Gambians earned their living daily is debris. Machines burnt beyond repair and leftovers of grains worth millions now left on the floor carrying dust. A painful sight for these vendors at the Brikama Sandika, who despite the devastating impact will have on their lives and businesses are back to clear the debris, with all hopes now relying solely on the benevolence of the public, the intervention of central government and the Brikama Area Council. An emotional Babakar Sar, one of the pioneers of the Brikama Sandika and former president of the National Sandika Union, Pa Job and Senabo Sar, both vendors and members of the Sandika Union, all expressed sadness over the incident and called on the public, particularly central government and the council, to come to their aid.
We have never experienced anything like this. I founded this Sandika, and this is the first time in 20 years that we have experienced such devastation. The impact of Friday's fire incident will be felt for many years to come. People's livelihoods have been completely destroyed. I am appealing for government's swift intervention.
Di ñaan dimbal ti bépp ku nga xamné am nga sa transu.
We are asking for support. We badly need help right now. Over 6,000 people benefit directly from this market, and this includes farmers across the country. This is where people in West Coast region and beyond come for all types of grains and fruits. So you can imagine the impact this will have not only on the vendors, but members of the public.
So
What happened here is really sad, especially for women who come here every day. All of us depend on this market for our livelihoods. This is indeed a very sad situation. I want to appeal to the authorities to please help us.
Mahmoud Sise and Ali Loom, Vice President and Secretary General of the Sandika Union, respectively, also joined others in appealing for support for the hundreds of vendors whose stalls were affected by the fire.
We cannot even quantify how much we have lost to the fire. However, I can tell you with certainty that it will take us years to recover from this devastating incident. Over 60 machines have been burnt beyond repair, and these machines are very expensive. I wouldn't even mention the thousands of bags of grains and cereals lost to the fire. It is like we are having to start our lives all over again.
Government, stakeholders, individuals.
We are appealing for support from government, council, and anyone who could help. We are dealing with a very sad situation. Thousands of people have been affected. This market was all we had. Our savings and everything else have been invested here.
While government and council officials who visited the scene of the incident on Friday morning have promised to intervene by building standard structures to ensure non-recurrence of such fire incidents, mostly attributed to faulty wiring, these vendors are now relying solely on the benevolence of the public to rebuild their lives. Answana Isonyasi for KTV News.
In a historic event, the Gambia will celebrate its 60th independence anniversary on the 18th of February 2025 under the theme Diamond Jubilee, marching in solidarity for self-reliance. Ahead of the anniversary, historian Hassum Sise offered a profound reflection on the nation's journey since its liberation from British colonial rule in 1965. Usman Jatta reports in the first of what will be a series of Diamond Jubilee-related reports during the whole of February.
The Gambia's journey to independence was peaceful, a testament to the resilience of its people and the persistent strengths of its inherited institutions. Ahead of the much-anticipated 60th anniversary, historian Hassum Sise shares his reflections on the remarkable transformation the nation has undergone from its early struggles, much of it's by the pen and not the sword, post-independence to its current position as a young, vibrant, restored democracy.
Gambia at 60 is a milestone if we look at the fact that really at independence nobody gave us the chance to survive. Yeah, there was this mantra of the improbable nation that economically we were too weak, politically too immature, and then even like, educationally too unattained to survive as an independent country. Few people, you had to be a clear optimist in those days to have faith in this country to survive as an independent sovereign state. Well, now 60 years down the line, not only are we one of the progressive states in Africa, but we have maintained peace, we have maintained stability, we have maintained a coherent multi-party democratic system, a free press, and of course, there is also a new generation of Gambians who are getting more and more educated.
After attaining independence in 1965, the Gambia thrived as a young nation, serving as a source of inspiration to several African countries and even attaining republican status ahead of much larger African nations. Cisse, the director of the National Center for Arts and Culture NCAC, emphasized the strides the Gambia has made in key areas such as maintaining good ties with the outside world.
Maintaining peace and stability. This is a resource that this country has had since 1965 and which has really brought us peace, progress and respect. Peace and stability. Two, an open and democratic society. From independence to date, Gambians have chosen that way of life. Regular multi-party elections, newspapers, private, independent, private media, freedom of association. Number three, peaceful coexistence with our neighbors, particularly Senegal in this case. There was something called friendship with the world during the days of Alhaji Sadawada Kerbai Jawara, our founding president. The North Koreans had an embassy here in Banjul. At the same time, we maintained diplomatic ties, with South Korea.
Home to several ethnic groups, the Gambia boasts of a rich cultural heritage which connects to its 6 decades of post-independence history. Cisse explains the role played by Gambian culture in the country's success story.
Our culture has been one of the driving forces of this country. Culture in its various aspects, our heritage sites, our national museums, our archives, our performance arts, our participation in the 1972 Manding Conference, Lalo Keba Drame, Jali Nyamo Suso, Abdullah Samba, Mari Samuel Njai, Ifambundi, Super Eagles, Land Repeaters, Ibu Diba, Tijan Sala. So you can see that culture and the arts has been part and parcel of our success story as a country since 1965.
Since independence, the Gambia has registered significant growth despite slow progress in some sectors of the economy. Amidst the gradual progress in infrastructure, education, agriculture and trade, Hasum Cisse is confident of a bright future for the Gambia.
I foresee a democratic, a prosperous and peaceful Gambia. A Gambia that will continue to be home to nationals from across the world because of our tolerance. A Gambia that will continue to espouse religious cohesiveness, ethnic harmony and unity in diversity.
The 68th Independence Anniversary celebration is expected to be a colorful blend of tradition, national pride and reflection on the nation's remarkable journey from a colony to a reimagined democratic nation. The theme for the Gambia's 60th Independence Anniversary is Diamond Jubilee, marching in solidarity for self-reliance. With a mixture of hope and reflection, the country eagerly awaits this landmark anniversary. Osman Jata.
We will now go for a short commercial break. When we return, we have some more local stories. Do stay tuned.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taaw place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal li fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saas añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal baara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taamu gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër baara wërga bii mooy wërga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma maree ataaya moom rek lay naan.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News and I am Jacqueline Coley. Now on Friday, Women in STEM Gambia in partnership with the West African International School WISE launched a Girls in STEM chapter for the school to shape a brighter future for girls through science, technology, engineering and mathematics. The aim is to empower the next generation of women innovators. Mam Nabuka attended the event and this is her report.
In the Gambia, more than 50% of the country's population is women. However, gender disparities are evident in many aspects of women's lives, especially in technical fields, which diminishes their opportunities to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Since its founding in 2022, the Women in STEM Gambia organization, through advocacy, mentorship, training programs, and more, has laid the groundwork for a more inclusive and equitable future in STEM, where women are empowered to thrive, lead, and make significant contributions to innovation and discovery. This launching of the Girls in STEM chapter at the West African International School is part of a broader movement to address the gender gap in STEM fields. By encouraging girls to engage with STEM subjects from an early age, Wisdom and WISE hope to cultivate a new generation of female leaders who will drive innovation and change in their communities and beyond. Kodu Jeng is the president of Wisdom Gambia.
So with the Girls in STEM chapters that we have created, each chapter, they host different activities. One of them is a STEM fair, panel discussion, mentorship program, and scientific research presentation. The students will form groups. So with those groups, they will come up with a project proposal, and they will be guided by women in STEM professionals, and they will present that project in front of an assembly. Together, we can help you students to build a better Gambia for our future.
In addition to the hands-on projects that will allow WISE students to engage in coding, robotics, and various other environmental science projects, the program will also focus on developing leadership qualities and teamwork among participants. 11 students have been elected to be the initial executive members of the chapter, to lead and foster a supportive community where young women can collaborate, share ideas, and inspire each other to pursue their passions in STEM. Here are Zono Jamme, the principal of WISE, and Anthony Ogiribo, the teacher coordinator.
How many Gambian women are there who are air pilots? Do you know of any? I don't know of any. How many Gambian women are engineers? I was told we had a few. The availability of a STEM club in WISE will act as a catalyst for our students to venture into professions which were male-dominated professions.
After today, our expectation and outcome is that more young female STEM students will be enrolled and equipped with the requisite moral, intellectual, material resources they need to excel in this highly competitive jet age.
The chapter launch concluded with the signing of an MOU between WISE and Wisdom. Both institutions agreed that the future looks promising for young women in Gambia as they embark on a journey to become the next wave of innovators and change makers in the world of science and technology. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
19 female police officers have received training on sexual and gender-based violence through game-based learning. The capacity-building initiative organized by Girls' Pride is supported by the joint EU-German support to the Gambia Police Force. More in this report by Jennifer Sonko.
The training is part of the Play to Empower initiative by Girls' Pride, a woman-led community-based organization. This initiative uses game-based learning to educate law enforcement officers about sexual and gender-based violence through the Fune board game. The game covers sensitive topics such as sexual and gender-based violence and menstrual hygiene management. Commissioner Mustafa Ndong emphasizes the potential impact of this training.
First of all, I wish to say that this is all part of the SSR, the National Security Sector Reform the Gambia government is pursuing. And SSR, one thing that is fundamental is that the objective is to kind of create a reorientation for security services, for the personnel that are serving in the various services. That is the primary objective of the SSR, because we know we emerge from a situation, and to be able to serve adequately in the current dispensation, there is a need for reorientation.
The Gambia Demographic and Household Survey highlights a concerning rise in the prevalence of physical violence against women aged 15 and above, increasing from 41% in 2013 to 46% in 2020. This rise is particularly notable in rural areas, where the prevalence rate, 47%, exceeds that of urban areas, 45%. Additionally, UNICEF reports that around 73% of girls and women in the Gambia aged 15 to 49 have experienced female genital mutilation. In response to these challenges, the joint EU-German support through the Gambia Police Force has supported the training of female police officers. Here is Dr. Marion Pop, the team lead.
We have a situation that the majority of police officers are not very well aware about the existing legislation in the country. So we have specialized units, we have the people working at the charge office who are quite well informed. However, if you speak to PIU officers or those people who have daily interactions with citizens, most of them are not up to date about existing laws.
Research shows that female police officers are more responsive to female victims, and that such victims might feel more comfortable approaching fellow women for support. This comes in the context of recent reports, including the recent dismissal of a male police officer from the Gambia Police Force for inappropriate conduct towards a young girl. Janke Mane, cadet inspector, is a participant.
It enlightened me, it increased my knowledge when it comes to policing skills, because concerning the laws of FGM, child marriage, and as well as the SGBV, because I'm a young officer in the job, and it has helped me to, whenever I go back to my station, I will also impact this knowledge, not only keep it to myself, but to also enlighten, teach other police officers.
In 2019, the government of the Gambia established the Ministry for Children, Gender and Social Welfare to directly address the needs of vulnerable populations and implement policies that support these demographics. For the ministry's efforts to succeed, it is crucial to have a well-informed and trained police force that can effectively enforce these policies and mechanisms. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
That's all for this bulletin, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. 10 All Gambia Transport Service Company buses were entirely burnt after a fire outbreak on Saturday at the GTSC headquarters in Kanifing. Following a devastating fire at Brikama Sunday Car Market on Friday morning, which caused significant losses for businesses, victims are now seeking government and public support to recover. In a historic event, the Gambia will celebrate its 60th independence anniversary on the 18th of February 2025 under the theme Diamond Jubilee, Marching in Solidarity for Self-Reliance. On Friday, Women in STEM Gambia We STEM, in partnership with the West African International School WISE, launched a Girls in STEM chapter for the school to shape a brighter future for girls through STEM. That's all for now in this bulletin. Join us tomorrow for the Week in Review with Ade Darami, Momodou Mboj and Lamin D. Sonko doing the sign language interpretation. Thanks for watching and bye for now.